Good, great, thanks. Well, boy, this is an exciting day, isn't it? My goodness. The whole thing is you just don't know what's going to happen. So let's take a look at what our possibilities would have been. We've had a lot of people in here today, I think, trading the NQ. And I want to thank all of you for posting your charts, because that is really helpful. And especially for the new people, NQ is a good market to learn on and to start. It tends to not be quite so volatile, and but there's enough to make some money in it, that's for sure. So thanks for doing all that, and everybody learns from marked up charts. I know it takes a lot of time, which is why I don't mark mine anymore, but I sure did that at the end of every day for a long time. I marked every single possibility until I began to see what I was looking for. Today we had these news events. Crude oil was real unhappy about the inventory, that's sure, and Brent started down even before. Brent has bottomed for the last, what, 1, 2, 3.5 hours, and it's pretty much in keeping with our West Texas product that we trade right in here. It doesn't seem to want to go below right in here, and I hope you all put this this 45.50 or 40.50, I'm sorry, 40.50 level. This is a big magnet right here, so hopefully it won't go too much farther below that, because this is getting a little out of control here for crude oil. But anyway, if you are trading it, there certainly have been some opportunities to make some money. So let's go back and look where we left off. About noon was right here. This had not completed. I think it was still working on some of this area. This is a valid add-on E, no question about it. But when you're taking this 3 ticks from the bottom of this E, and you have the low of the day right below that, you're going to need some volume to really get through that. And this is not my kind of a trade. I think it's too dangerous. I don't like it. But look down here at the volume. The volume is like, hello, where did everybody go? What time is it? Right in here. There's not a lot of contracts moving. So at this time of day, which is, what is this, about 12:15 to maybe a little past 1, I think there's too much risk in taking a southbound bus right here. So if you waited until later in the afternoon and going into the close, a lot of contracts. I mean, look at the volume. This is almost 400,000 contracts traded today. That's a significant amount for West Texas. Brent trades about twice that when the European session is open. But when it did start going, if you knew you were going into the close and the volume, it's easier to see, I think, on this 6-tick chart coming up on about 2 o'clock. Yeah, you can see that there's more and more and more volume coming in, and then a whole bunch right here. What has happened is a lot of these contracts that start, they want to offload them going into the close. So as they start buying back their shorts, then it causes it to run right up here. But it doesn't seem to be too inclined. I mean, we put in another entry E right here, but notice this one does not have a matching MVP. So we put a triangle on there to signify that yes, you can trade this, But this is not in keeping with our downward trend. So what will happen tomorrow? Only, I guess, the trading gods know. This 10-minute, look at this, how it went right up here to these are easier to see sometimes, I think, these range boxes, but goes right up to the top. So, for example, if you had taken this down here someplace, say, off of our institutional volume zone, then when this got up to the power line, certainly you want to be aware that breaking that power line is going to take a significant push. And yes, you can squeeze a few more ticks out of it, but you have to be prepared for this top of this range channel. And my personal expectation is that unless you saw a tremendous amount of volume coming in, which you're not likely to at 420, this is not going to go on up. It would take significant news event to do that. I really like to use this trend catcher for these confirmations. I think it really is helpful if you're trying to learn this system to always verify an entry with this. You cannot take every single entry and completely disregard everything else that's happening, because that isn't going to work either. You have to learn to read this a little bit, but to blindly take every single entry is that's not going to work out well for you. When you see this, remember we were talking, somebody wanted to take a long, or they were trying to look for a signal that would take a long up here on this 30-minute chart. When this puts in a candle like this, it's going to continue. Rarely will you ever see a big candle like this and then it suddenly just starts going up. If it does, it will be a short 2 or 3 candles, green right in here, and then whoosh, it'll go on down. Let's see, anything else? Well, if you were trading currencies today, there was sure a lot of opportunity in literally all of the major currency futures, and I'm sure in the spreads too. The Nadex spreads I haven't paid too much attention to lately. The U.S. dollar went down, which is what caused these all all these currencies to go up. The VIX is looking like it might want to close pretty darn close to where it opened this morning. So we'll see how that works out. And I think that's about the size of where we are. Be sure, oh, I wanted to remind you, today was a perfect example. On the Nadex website, that news tab, if you haven't really looked at that carefully, I would spend some time doing it, because there are trades for these news events in there of what time to put them on and how to do it and what to look for. So there are a lot of traders who trade only news events. They built their whole trading around news events. So it's a matter of understanding the Apex system and how incredibly accurate it is, and then starting to add on different strategies. If you can trade the futures with virtually any instrument using the Apex system, then you can use exactly what you have learned with that to carry over into other products and other strategies. So this, in other words, this is not the only trick pony there is. I hope you have a great afternoon. I will be around for a little bit to answer questions if anybody has any. And so this has been my view from my world at Apex Land. Have a nice afternoon, and I'll see you tomorrow.